Much. Harvey and Irma struck just 16 days apart. The first time really on record that we had two Category 4 hurricanes hit the U.S. in the same season.
And the economic toll could top Hurricane Katrina. You could feel the pinch even if you live far from Texas or even Florida.
We want to bring in our weather business analyst, Paul Walsh, with more on this. And Paul, I'm almost afraid to ask this question, but we have to ask it. How big of a dollar impact have Harvey and Irma been, do you think?
Well, it's an estimate at this point, Kelly, but most estimates are pointing to possibilities of impacts greater than $200 billion. To put that into perspective, J.P. Morgan put out a research report that suggested that over the last 50 years, we've accumulated about $500 billion in hurricane losses. So we're looking at 50% of that 50-year accumulation just over the past 2 weeks. So it's a really, really big number. In terms of the overall economy, now estimates are that we could see up to a 1% decrease in the overall economy of the U.S. in the third quarter. So it is a massive, massive impact.
Yeah, all around the nation. I mean, people are feeling it, from gas prices to we're showing images of citrus. What other businesses have been hurt the most?
Well, Leanna, of course, the insurance industry is going to have a huge impact. The estimates now range possibility of about $50 billion in insurance payouts they're going to have to do. You mentioned citrus. The Florida citrus crop has been impacted significantly. I've seen reports of almost 50% of the orange crop being negatively impacted. Of course, Florida makes up about 50% of the oranges that we consume around the world. Also travel and tourism. So think of the Keys basically losing their entire season this year because they won't be ready for their peak season. So, the cumulative impact of this is something that we've not really seen before, and it's going to take a long time to recover from.
And if we've seen crop damage, obviously, Paul, that means we all have to pay a little more for that, right?
That's right. What will end up happening is that we'll start to see the ripple effect across the economy. So we'll see the impact on oranges and orange juice, tomatoes, many things that you buy in the grocery store come out of Florida, because Florida is such a huge economic engine for not just the U.S. but the entire world. So we're seeing a really, really significant both social and economic and ultimately political impact from these storms. It's really big. It's hard to underestimate how big the impact of this will be on our general economy.
And Paul, we only have about 30 seconds left. Now, property damage isn't the only issue. Couldn't Harvey and Irma drag down the job market?
In the short term, certainly, and we've already seen that impact. Of course, what ends up always happening, Leanna, after storms like this, it'll be months from now, but we'll start to see a rebound. When the money starts to flow in, the jobs will come back, and that'll be really part of the rebuilding of both Florida and Houston.
All right, Paul Walsh, thank you so much for coming in and explaining everything to us. Unfortunately, it's a lot of bad news, but we do have to track more storms out there, including Jose. We've got Reynolds Wolf out there in Virginia.